So wage determinations, what are they? So wage determination is basically a minimum wage that has been determined by the Department of Labor to standpoint service contracts. So if you're going to be doing any sort of service contract, you're going to need to know about the federal wage determinations. And these can be found on SAM Beta on a separate tab. So you can click on wage determinations there, and we could just hit search because they don't just have a quick link yet. So once we hit search, this is the wage determinations page. Now, there are two different types of wage determinations that you're going to see. There are the DavisBacon Acts, or DBAs, or the Service Contract Acts, which are SCAs. So if you already have a solicitation you're looking for, and there's a section in it that talks about service wage determinations and making sure that you have the wage determinations for that area, well, you would put in that number and you could automatically find the act. If you don't have it, you can start searching. So let's say I needed a DavisBacon Act wage determination. I could click on I need a DBA, and it's going to bring me to a search tool. So a DavisBacon Act, this was basically a wage determination that was created for laborers that are working on public works contracts. So if you're going to be doing anything for public works, this includes like construction, public buildings or public works facilities, then you're going to need to follow the wage determinations that are part of the DavisBacon Act. These are going to be listed by state. So if you don't know what yours is, you can look it up. So I'm going to do a search with you. So if we go on the left, we can put in the state location for Florida, because that's where we're at. And then it asks you for the county. So we're going to put in Pinellas, because that's the Pinellas County area where we're located right here. There we go. And I can click on the DavisBacon Act for the first one. So I'll click on that first one on the right-hand side. See where you can even go down by construction type to find the specific, but I'm just going to show you an example of one of the ones for Florida. So when I click into the DavisBacon Act, in the document itself, when I scroll down, it's going to start to list the titles of the different service workers, and then it's going to give me some information about the minimum wages that I have to pay them. So this one, it tells you also that for Florida, $10.60 an hour is the federal minimum. And then if you keep scrolling, we're going to eventually see a listing of the actual rates and wages for different types of titles. So here we go. We'll pause for a second. So as you can see, we'll use the electrician for an example. The electrician's wage minimum in Florida under the DavisBacon Act is $25.75 an hour. And then their fringe benefits. So fringe benefits, for those you don't know, this is like vacation pay or time and a half type of deal. You can see the rate that they're giving you there as well. So they give you a fringe benefit and then a regular pay rate. Now, these are just the minimums. So in order for you to submit a federal contract for services, you would need to know what the minimum wages are that you can include, because this is going to be a really big part of your pay. So if you're making a price for a service contract, please check out the wage determinations to find out what are the minimum wages you can pay to be able to be in compliance. It's also going to help you to understand what your competitive range is for pricing, because if your pricing is too low based off of just paying your wages less, well, you're missing out on some money and you might not even be considered because it's no longer in a typical competitive range. So that right there is a little bit of information on wage determinations. You can do that same search for the Service Contract Acts. The only difference between the two of a DavisBacon Act and a Service Contract Act is that a Service Contract Act is based off of service contracts that have nothing to do with public works. So this is anything else, janitorial, landscaping, any other type of service contract not tied to public works type contracts. So those are kind of the two different ones you'll see. You might start seeing a third type of wage determinations, which are the contract bargaining agreements, CBAs, but these are based off of past agreements that were written, so you would know if you have one. Let me just put it that way. Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about wage determinations, and I'm waiting for our first caller to call in, let's talk about how this is going to affect you. Because that's, the biggest question that people have whenever there's change. How will that change affect me?